Hey guys, Haley again. I know it's been, God, probably, oh lordy, like half a year since my last video. I don't even know because it's been way too flippin' long. I'm really sorry. Life has been getting really, really hectic. I got a job recently. It was the tail end of April, and I have just been going through a lot of stuff lately. I mean, a lot of drama. It's not anything I want to keep going into. It's irritating as all hell. But anyway, I'm gonna try to start doing videos like regularly again. Because the fact that my job is giving me barely any hours, I really don't have an excuse anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and, as my first video back, I'm actually gonna start like going to current movies and reviewing them. And obviously, as this video is titled, I will go ahead and review How to Train Your Dragon 2. I have previously gushed about the first movie. I absolutely adore it to no end. I love the first movie, and in 3D, it looked fantastic. Now, this one is a step above that. They went above and beyond for this movie. Basically, the premise of How to Train Your Dragon 2, basically, Hiccup and Toothless are exploring new lands. I mean, he has the original map and he expands on it. I mean, he's seen new types of dragons and learning all new things, and while still creating that strong bond with Toothless. And it was incredible seeing the flying scenes in 3D again. I went to a 1020 premiere. I would have gone to the 8 o'clock, but I was working. I went to the 1020 premiere over at a local theater of mine, and I saw it in 3D, and it looked fantastic. The 3D was beautiful. I mean, they seriously, like, usually when it comes to 3D movies, they slap it on at the last second because they know it's going to be a cash cow. It's an extra, like, $2 or $3, depending on where you go to do 3D. But luckily, the theater I went to was only $1, so haha. Anyway, so yeah, back to the movie. So they're like adventuring and everything, and obviously, as seen in the trailer, he finds his mother. And just seeing that connection that they had between Hiccup and Valka was amazing. Technically, her name I think was Valhalla Rana. Um, if I'm saying that correctly, I could be completely butchering the name, but I don't really care. I never read the books, but basically I've seen some people raging about that. But honestly, try getting a little kid to say that. Valka is so much easier to say. Um, Hell, I'm 20 years old, and it's hard enough for me to say it. But anyway, so they go ahead and they have this amazing connection, and it is just incredible. And it turns out the Stoic ends up seeing her as well whenever he goes to find Hiccup because he's worried. And seeing the three of them together was just absolutely adorable. I am also going to bring up the fact that there is a main antagonist. There wasn't really a main antagonist for the first one, other than the fact of a climax with the Red Death dragon at the very end there, the Queen Dragon. Um, there wasn't technically a serious, honest antagonist in that movie. It took me like 2 or 3 watches of it to realize there was no main bad guy. It was just a complete misunderstanding with Hiccup and the father, because the father was technically, I guess, viewed as a bad guy, I guess, but it was just mainly the fact that he didn't understand. And he didn't understand the fact that Toothless wasn't dangerous. I mean, yeah, he is dangerous. He's a fucking dragon. But, it's just the fact that he didn't understand the fact that Hiccup had trained him enough to where he isn't anything to be worried about. He was just protecting. But there's no main bad guy. In this one, there is a bad guy, and it's friggin' Bloody Fister. I don't know, Hiccup makes fun of it like twice. Um, Honestly, he just did not leave that much of an impact. They didn't flesh out his character enough. Basically, all we do know is that he was attacked by a dragon and lost his arm. I mean, that's all you really get. But he still is rather intimidating, though, because, you know, he does have an alpha dragon on his side, which we never see him train. Okay, that also is another thing I just realized. We don't see any explanation for that. Anyway, so, so many little tiny incidental things, but that's nitpicking. Um, but anyway, so he is intimidating, and, you know, he's taking all the dragons and everything like that. But, like, he is an antagonist, but he's also not. I mean, he could have been so much more intimidating had we known how he ended up training that alpha dragon, because as far as we're concerned, the ones that are about our size, like Toothless and the Monstrous Nightmares and everything of that nature, those are trainable. I mean, hell, Cloudjumper, Valka's dragon, was trainable. In fact, I don't even think he needed to be trained, considering that he kind of took her and took her back to the net. Okay, again, another plot point. But, it's just those things where it's just so weird to where he would have been so much more intimidating had we known how he trained this giant dragon that's like freaking 10 million different, Sears Towers, going on there, okay? Like, if we had known how he did that, I would feel a lot more freaked out, because, hell, if he could train that giant thing, what else could he possibly train? I'm sure a million smaller dragons is not a problem. But it's just one of those things where it just bothers me now. But anyway, so, this review will have a couple spoilers, so I will put that in the freaking title that there are spoilers. Because I need to gush about what happened. If you all have seen the movie, you all know what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it right now, because now I'm thinking about it, and my god. How they ended up doing, and this is spoiler right now, if you have not seen it, you need to go see it, and then come back, so that way you know everything I'm about to say. Do not finish watching this review if you haven't seen it. Anyway, spoilers, now, Stoic dies. Holy shit, is that intense when it comes to how they kill him off. It is so ridiculous. It's so upsetting. Because here you were 20 minutes ago having a happy family, with them dancing and singing and having a ton of grand old time. Finally as a family again. And quite literally 20 minutes later, Stoic dies. That just absolutely, it was killing me. I mean, I was in a freaking theater filled with little kids. I don't know why little kids were up at 10:20 in the freaking night. I mean, seriously, come on. You should be in bed by freaking 8. So, it was just intense. Like, just how it happens is depressing. I mean, first you have to deal with the fact that Toothless gets controlled by the Alpha Dragon, and all of a sudden, friggin' Bloodfist is just like, hey, kill friggin' Hiccup, and Hiccup's like, no, 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 please don't, and everything like that, and he gets so close to getting through to him. Stoic intervenes just as he goes to kill him, and he gets axed off instead, and, how Hiccup is, scrambling to, turn him over, and everything, it's so depressing. Watching him cry over his, oh, jeez. It's rather dark. It's dark for DreamWorks, and the only thing I was kind of thankful for, but also a bit disappointed because they were going that dark route, was how they didn't have, maybe a bit of a black spot on the front of Stoic's armor or something to show where he got hit. Because I'm not sure whether or not it was just one of those, to the chest things where it killed him, or whether or not it was a side blow or a stomach thing. I have no idea because it wasn't shown. Because honestly, if you're going to go ahead and have Valka check for his pulse, or have Hiccup crying over his dead body, you might as well have us see what happened. What Toothless's attack looks like when it kills someone. I'm not sure whether or not it's a burn, or whether or not it just is like a freaking laser, okay? I want to know. But then after that, the whole funeral thing afterwards was tear-jerking, because if any of you guys have seen the animated version of Beowulf, basically, they stick his body on a boat, on, an old rickety wooden ship, and it has, a torn sail and everything, and his body is, covered, I think, with, stones or something like that. But as they're pushing it off and everything, and it's going towards the distance, they light an arrow, and Hiccup shoots the arrow and burns the ship. That's a traditional Viking funeral. And it was so depressing, and just everything, because then Hiccup turns around, and there was a picture of a page I liked on Facebook where it was a picture of Hiccup with the ship burning behind him, and they're like, oh yeah, here's a sunset Hiccup for you, and 5 different people are like, that's not a sunset! They're like, oh my god, why'd you have to say that? And freaking out. It was so upsetting. But I was the only one in a theater full of little kids freaking crying. I'm gonna admit, I cried at his death. I really did. I shed a little happy tear when, Stoic was like, "Oh, you're as beautiful as the day I lost you," and stuff like that. That was adorably sad. And it was a happy reunite, and all of a sudden, they go ahead and they axed him off. I'm like, oh no. So that happens. And then they surprisingly take a really weird. They took a thing from Disney by going ahead and making it to where right after that scene where they have to get back to Burke in order to stop everything, they're riding these little tiny baby dragons who don't listen to anything, so obviously that's going to come in handy. And they do a bunch of slapstick with the babies running into everything, and I'm like, I know you're trying to cheer up the little kids, but come on, really? That's like Disney with Bambi by having the la 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 li, 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 and it's like, really? Come on, guys. Do not pull a Bambi. Come on. I still can't watch that movie without scowling in disgust with how they pulled that off. Anyway, so yeah, obviously everything was saved. Toothless ends up turning seriously badass at the very end there and beats the snot out of the Alpha Dragon. And I gotta say, I was very surprised. He freaking glows. It was awesome. But at the end, everything was all fine, and obviously, because the good guys can't lose. It's a kids movie. Very rarely do you run into a kids movie where the bad guy wins. Well, for more than 5 seconds. until the good guys are like, no. Anyway, so, okay. What I thought overall, great movie. The animation's beautiful. They really went the extra mile with the 3D. They've made it worth it to go see it in 3D. I'm going to go ahead and go see it again in 2D to see what differences there were, because I love seeing 3D first before 2D. So that way I know whether or not to spend the extra money to get a freaking 3D adapter for my new TV or whatever, because my parents just got a new one. But usually I get Blu-ray. I can't wait to see this in Blu-ray. It's gonna be beautiful. But anyway, so, alright, overall, I think it was a great movie. I loved it, probably more than the original. Yeah, there were tiny little things that you could nitpick about, but, if you're my age, then yes, you're gonna notice these things, but if you're a little kid, you're not gonna notice. You're just gonna think that this is a really cool-looking movie. They had some great backstory in there for Valka. They had good explanation. Which also explains why the Queen Dragon from the first movie was able to control all those other dragons. It was an alpha type thing, so that explains that. And they also went ahead and did a really good job in the music score. It was beautiful. Every moment sounded perfect. The sound mixing in this movie is fantastic. I mean, each dragon sounds different. It's amazing. Character design, I kind of like how they went ahead and they aged everybody. That doesn't happen very often. The only thing is that people keep complaining about Hiccup's voice and how it doesn't match his older persona. But whatever. I mean, seriously, the actor, he has that voice. Get over it. It's gonna happen. Overall, I give this movie a series 5 out of 5. I love this movie to death, just as much as I love the first one. And as much as I love Rise of the Guardians, DreamWorks has really been on the ball when it comes to their movies recently, and I'm very happy about that. I don't know what movie that they're working on next. I believe that they're actually going to make either 1 or 2 more sequels to this, but I don't know when they're coming out. I heard rumor that they're already working on How to Train Your Dragon 3. I'm not sure what the premise is so far. I also heard rumor that they are working on a Kung Fu Panda 3. But, again, I don't know specifics. But, anyway, so, that was How to Train Your Dragon 2, and I hope you enjoyed the review. I enjoyed the movie. Definitely go see it. Huge recommendation. You can't get much bigger than a friggin' 5 out of 5. So, yeah, sorry again for, kind of being gone for a while. Things have just gotten hectic, but I'm finally getting a lid on things. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and see if another movie that I'm interested in. Doesn't have to be horror anymore. I'm not putting myself to any standard. So I'll go ahead and try to go see more movies recently, and I will do more reviews in the future. Alright, thanks for sticking with me, guys. See you later. Have a great day.